Welcome back to Dime Comic Bros. Uh, I'm welcoming you because it's been a long break. We took what we said was gonna be like 3 months, and it turned into 12, I think.
It was, I think, like 9 to 12. Yeah.
uh,
Oops.
so we're back. We really needed that break. We were all really cooked, and we had shit to figure out. We didn't really figure shit out, but the break was lovely. I'm your host, Jacob, joined by my co-host, Spencer. And we've got some new things happening in this season of Dime Comic Bros. First
Indeed, we are.
and foremost, we have fired a host. But secondly, I have relinquished the reins to allow Spencer to have the opening joke because he asked nicely.
That is true. I mean, you kind of stole the bit, but yes, we are on officially season 6 or 7. You can kill me; it's fine.
Gladly.
It's 6. We are all new, all different, but still spectacular. Keeping in theme. Yes, Colin is no longer with us. He's not dead, we promise.
Not yet.
Only dead to me.
Not yet.
Nah, but we have had to adjust things a little bit. So Colin may, God forbid, pop on from time to time if we can convince him. But for now, for the foreseeable future, it's going to be just the two of us.
My
And we're also-
intention with this is to just rage bait the fuck out of him so that he's like, no, I need to be on the show next week and tell you you're wrong.
That's fair. I did tell him I was going to have him listen to this when it's done to give us some general feedback to see how well we've adapted.
So I stole your opening joke.
I was just going to open up with like, "Welcome to season 6 or 7." Like that was,
Wow.
yeah. It's yeah, I know.
Okay, well, I'm about to blow your mind. I have something I need to get off my chest because it's really bothering the fuck out of me.
The
how-
4 chest hairs you have.
12. I counted last night. How the fuck does Disney Plus not have Buzz Lightyear of Star Command on there? What is happening?
Dude, I know! It's insane!
They have the shitty 2020, whatever that was, 2019 Lightyear movie, but they don't have Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. What is actually fucking happening?
They don't want you to compare the two and realize how good we had it. I think I might still have my VHS copy of the movie.
I want to see it again because that's the only way I've seen it is your VHS copy from when you were very, very young.
I think I still have my Buzz Lightyear in the basement.
And I'm pretty sure there was a TV show too that went along
Yes.
with that movie. That's
Yeah, it
nowhere
was,
online either.
Yeah, I mean, I probably can find it. But yeah, it was, who was it?
It's nowhere
There was 2
legal.
different voice actors. It was Patrick Warburton for the movie, and I don't remember who did the voice acting for the show, but he was more doing like an impression of Patrick Warburton, who was doing an impression of Tim Allen. But Tim Allen during the pompous "I'm a toy" segments. So it gets pretty interesting.
I've considered pirating it. I just don't want Emperor Mickey to show up at my door and double tap my face.
I already have a lot of Emperor Mickey's property, so I'll dig around and see what I can do. I
Yeah.
will. No one's checking us for this shit because we have 4 listeners. 2 of them are my mom because she's so fat and so on. So nobody is checking us for piracy. Even YouTube lets us get away with extended meme clips.
That's true. That's true.
Except
I think-
the one time
I was
they
gonna say-
fucking knocked us for like, what was it?
I've
What
been
are
trying to
the damn-
remember what our copyright strike was, but it was dumb.
It was like 6 seconds of one of the like saxophone, like the classic saxophone things. I don't remember which one it was.
The one that Deadpool overplays.
Yeah, and I like heavily modulated it and
Yep.
clicked it under the minimum requirements. But you know, whatever, it's fine. We're never
We-
going to be monetized anyways.
We've straight up played copywritten music on the show and never
For
been
sure.
copyright struck.
Yeah,
whatever.
so I have a feeling instead of it being as we might have thought. Like Dime Gaming Bros, where we're slightly more rigid and we have our strong
Nah,
opinions and we explain ourselves.
no.
This is going to turn into absolute insanity.
Which is what
Um,
Colin wanted all along. It just took him leaving the show to become that.
that is true. But on the bright side of, nope, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Wow. Okay.
As you might be able to hear, we're not actually in the same room right now. Unfortunately,
Somebody was losing chunks last night. All right, sorry.
I have a joke.
Continue. I can cut me out.
I may or may not have opened the Necronomicon, and there may or may not be a deadite infestation in my house. They're literally knocking on my door right now, and that's why I'm wearing no pants.
And that keeps me from recording in the same room because
You get too scared to stay hard when they threaten to suck your cock. That's why.
it really bothers me that that's the only thing you take away from that entire god tier
It's
horror series is
it's
the
not.
one
It's just
throwaway
the
line in 2013 remake Evil Dead. Fuck off.
It's absolutely not. I just rewatched Army of Darkness last week, so fuck you. It's just really fucking funny, and it's the only line that a Deadite says that I can do with a voice for some fucking reason.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. It's not because you say it all the time in real life,
No.
not even quoting the movie.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
We have a lot to catch up on, and so we're not really going to have a whole lot of structure, but our good friends,
Michael Goodwin and Kyle Litchfield.
yeah, those guys, they released a comic book.
They did. It's probably going to have its sequel slash follow up in the near future too.
So I was at Jetpack at some point this week, and I bought Mike's Monument to the False Gods #2 because I didn't have a copy yet, and he was like, what was it? He was like, "Oh, you got to get on Colin to write the next space adventure." And I know I need to write the next one of these. I was like, yeah, and Almond Man too. Like, we need more. But
It's true. It's true.
He signed my issue, so that was cool.
Yay. Yeah, I think last year or just about, they released Almond Man Zero, which is a full issue expansion of an ash can, if I remember correctly. Apparently, there's Jetpack store lore behind this that I kind of picked up.
Weird.
There's a couple of illustrations they have on the back wall. I don't know who they're by. I don't think they're from anybody I know, but somebody in Jetpack history has made like illustrations of nut-based characters. So for some fucking reason, I believe Kyle decided to expand upon that idea and wanted to make Almond Man, and then he recruited Michael to do his bidding because Kyle loves being conniving and hiding behind the scenes. He literally refused to come on the show for an interview. He just said, "Make Mike do it."
It's true. It's true. We have that on audio as proof.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And then he made Mike run the Kickstarter too.
Yep.
But Kyle did put in the legwork on making all the cool figurines that they had as Kickstarter editions. They're like little, I don't remember the term for it. It's like those stars you had on your ceiling as a kid that glow when you charge them up with a lamp.
Yep.
It's that sort of luminescence of like a resin cast of Almond Man that came in little milk cartons. I didn't get one, but they're really cool.
I got one and I haven't opened it. I'm just like, I'm scared to, because he put so much work into it.
Oh yeah, he walked me through the entire process. Originally, he was going to do like one thing, and then he did another thing, and then that took forever, but it turned out good. And then they tried to do it a more effective way, and they turned out like shit. So I'm pretty sure he just cast all of them by hand. And he did like 500 or some shit.
So the actual comic, it's basically the Cyber Wolverine, like when he escapes the lab kind of story. Almond Man is just like a scientific experiment that is released or breaks free from the lab and is gonna bring justice to the bad guys on Earth or something. It's a wild story. It's fairly short, but oh my gosh, it just left me wanting so much more. It looks incredible.
Michael is a phenomenal illustrator. I really like the amount of texture he has on his art.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's lumpy, but in a good way. Which I hope your almond milk isn't lumpy. That's very bad. But I like how funny the whole thing is. The whole thing, it feels like they started it as a bit, and then they realized they could do something with it, and then it did well enough that they're like, ah, shit, we're gonna have to do like an actual series, aren't we?
Yeah.
They took the bit too far, and it's still great. Like, it has, obviously, the A cover done by Mike is a homage to the first appearance of Superman, which is great.
Right.
But like the whole thing, it comes across like the Tick, I would say.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
It's a weird sense of humor, but that is
it works.
Having been drunk and talked to Kyle and Mike to various extents, that is very both of them. And like every other line is a fucking pun or a reference joke, but it doesn't feel like unicorn chimichanga Deadpool tier meme reference either.
Fair.
It actually feels like relatively well thought out jokes, and most of them are nut based, and that opens up the whole field for everything.
They have so many characters in the sketchbook in the back, and I don't think there's like any of them in this book. I want to see these villains in action. What is happening? What is this book about? I need more.
Only God knows. Yes, for sure. Last time I think I talked to, I believe, Michael about it at Free Comic Book Day this year. I believe he said that Kyle is finishing up the script for #1. So maybe cross our fingers and toes, there'll be a follow-up by like the middle of next year.
Leave it to you to mention toes. I want to go back to texture for a minute. This comic is in black and white, but oh my gosh, the illustrations and the texture make you imagine color in it. Like, the cover does really well to like give you that first impression, but just like the very first page opens in somewhere in the remote New Hampshire wilderness with like valleys and trees and deer and birds and an explosion, which is all perfectly normal in New Hampshire. But like, I can imagine what colors would be used here. It looks so good. It doesn't even need color. Like, your imagination fills in so many gaps.
Must be the backwoods of Farmington.
It's probably just Rochester.
The 1 square mile of woods they have. I do agree. It is one of those things where I'm a modern American idiot, and I don't love black and white comics that much. Not because they're not cool and they're not like high effort, but I think a lot of them they're not really planned to be black and white. And because these are two regular motherfuckers that we know that work at a comic shop, I'm sure that this was their entire fund budget for the year. And yet it doesn't feel like a cost-cutting measure to not include color.
Yeah. Like,
Mike's art carries the fact that, like, I have read his books where he does put color in. Like, Monument of the Moon Gods is vivid as shit. But I don't know if I would want this issue, at least, of Almond Man to be in color. You know, it would be cool. But I do think the art draws out enough like kinetic energy and a particular vibe per panel that it really doesn't need it.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Extremely.
I want more, like, pronto. It's awesome.
I will go step on Kyle's balls.
Well, speaking of that, do you want to move on to Daredevil Born Again Season 2?
They made Matt into feet. I don't know how I feel about it. I really like this season. It does still have some of the same difficulties the first season has, though.
You're really never gonna beat the foot allegation at this point.
At this point, I'm just leaning into it because I can't shake it. They were talking about them at work today. What the fuck? I can't escape. So we have like a what is it? 6 month, 3 month time skip from the end of Born Again season one. We have Matt and Karen on the run from the law. Kingpin has taken over the city under martial law. They're doing fuck shit. We open up with a really cool sequence of Matt like trashing a boat. He just shipwrecks a fucking shipment of guns, and that's kind of the central plot for the season.
He didn't do the shipwreck.
Yeah, but they want you to think he did. They really want you to. This is a lot more like political finagling than I expected. I liked it. I just didn't expect it to be so. Oh, that little thing was actually really important because of this loophole in the 47th Amendment of my butthole. So we get the two warring sides. Very slowly, Matt and Karen start recruiting other people to their side. They get some allies. They spoil some of Kingpin's fun. My big boy just wants to murder people and have his wife and be evil, and they won't let him. Bullseye is also there to be chaotic, evil, chaotic neutral at this point? Question mark?
Yeah, chaotic neutral.
Yeah, there's a lot of like state to city politics stuff going on between Kingpin as the mayor of New York City and the governor of New York, trying to reel him in, but like kind of being a pussy about it for most of the season. There's also fucking Shaggy in the background as a CIA guy, which was so weird. I liked funny. It. He's hilarious. I did expect it to be like, oh, he's this plot twist villain. It's like, no, he is actually just a Fed.
Yeah, he's
the whole time.
Yep.
I like that. It was really
just
cool. He has, yeah. Eventually, all three angles, because Bullseye's just dicking around being retarded. The three of them all clash, and then Matt outs himself as Daredevil in a legal battle, which was dope as shit. And then he makes a deal with Kingpin. So Kingpin fucks off and like goes to Miami or some shit. Leaves New York. Matt goes to prison. That's my plot synopsis. I think I hit most of the high notes in there.
I don't know. This season, I didn't feel as hooked for every episode like I did in season one of Born Again. Like,
really?
That one, I was like, I need the next episode right now. This one, I was like, all right, we get it. Like, taking real life inspirations a lot. And by the end of the season, I felt like they got kind of lost in the sauce of that, of like, all right, like, take a breath. Like, you're clearly pissed off about current events. We get it, but it felt kind of choppy. Like, Kingpin's motivations, I thought, were like, yeah, like, overall, generally, I just want to do what I want. Like, let me do it. The law doesn't matter. Whatever. That was all good. But the final showdown, he's just pissed off and punches really hard until he doesn't. And I was like, I don't know. It was missing some sauce in this season.
I don't disagree necessarily. I think I do agree that the explicitly borderline allegorical elements were a lot more obvious this season. However, I think the majority of that was kind of The Boy season 5, where they were predicting reality 1 week before it happened. Like, this shit was written 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean that they're not leaning too hard into it, but it does. It's not entirely like just a knee-jerk reaction, but I do get it.
Yeah.
I do agree. I liked the finale, but I do think it was missing a little extra something to it. Like, the symbology was really cool. It was shot really well. You know, the music cues were all great. Actually watching Kingpin just literally beat civilians to death was awesome. Evil, but awesome. It was nice to see him finally just lose it and be done. But Okay, so this is gonna get in the weeds. I swear. I'll make it quick. Typically speaking, I do not like when superhero media or most things in general come to the conclusion of the like, we really do have to just make an agreement not to do this. I think it works for Daredevil because he is such a consistently morally inadequate character. He is so ping-ponging back and forth all the time. I don't disagree with the characterization, but yeah, on the Kingpin side, it felt lacking. I think Matt's motivation throughout the season of he's getting, as he said in the first season, like I believe in um forgiveness or grace, but I also believe in, I think it's retribution or whatever. You know the line. I think the first season did a really good job of leaning into the negative end of that. This season, I think, especially with Bullseye, did a very good job of justifying, like, Matt is not borderline. He is too committed, not necessarily too committed, personal preference, to the idea of being able to let bygones be bygones and like give people forgiveness. I think that works really well for his characterization, but as a soft finale to the Mayor Kingpin stuff, obviously we're going to get all the fallout of that in next season. But I think as like the end of Kingpin's reign this time, it did feel a little anticlimactic to have it end in like a handshake again, because season 3 did that. I don't feel like it's like they're consciously like repeating notes again. Like we had that with season 1 where that was like kind of a criticism of like, we've seen him do this before, but Matt always fucking does this, so it's correct. You just have to do it interestingly. But I don't have like a creative solution to it either. I didn't want to just see it be a complete utter brawl. I like the idea of like Kingpin finally has no reason to hold back. He has lost Vanessa due to his own idiocracy. He has lost the only thing he cares about. Matt has really come a long way in trying to find redemption for people who don't deserve it, which is, as Jonah the movie taught me, moisty. And I think offering that hand is a good thing. And interpersonally, I agree with it. But it was a little weird. I don't know. There was definitely something a little missing there. I like I do like where we end. I like the comparison of Kingpin being free as a bird and still miserable. He's in paradise and he is still unhappy. Whereas we have Matt getting locked up, exposed, and he's happy to an extent. Like he's smirking a little bit at the end. He's like, I like that ending. I think it puts us in a really interesting spot for season 3. It does feel like a good season ender. The episode needed to be longer. And that is the same complaint I had for most of season 1, is it feels like this entire thing had so much material that just got kind of squeezed out of it.
Did we see what's her face as the White Tiger? I don't remember.
Briefly, and I think just the finale.
Yeah, I wanted more of that. Like,
I agree.
Most of the season, I wanted that. Her relationship with the guy, Kingpin's toy. I didn't feel very satisfied with either. We couldn't tell as the audience very well if she was just using him or if she was actually interested, and then he got so I was fair. Confused by that.
I in terms of like secondary characters, I really like how evil Matt and evil Foggy ended. It was I was sad. I was actually kind of sad. No, I didn't cry, but like the fact that this season pulled so much weight to make me care about Buck and God damn it, I forgot his name. It's been like a month since I finished the show. Shit.
Not Wesley.
Evil Matt and yeah, not Wesley and not and Fat Boy. The fact that they committed to actually killing him was really well done, I thought. Like, apparently they did shoot both. They've made Buck either kill him or let him go. And they decided to stick with Buck killing him. Buck actually does seem relatively remorseful. Like, we got a little glimpse of Buck does have some humanity. We got the damn, like, hey, you gotta try to wean him, my guy, which was all very funny. And we also got that wonderful fucking flashback episode to try to connect the Netflix stuff more directly to this stuff, with Wesley literally passing the torch to British Wesley. What's next, gay Wesley? Fun fact, that was Wesley already. I really liked how well they beefed up the secondary characters. It did.
Yeah.
It does feel really imbalanced, though, which is disappointing. It's not. I do hate the, like, really over-the-top criticism of, like, oh, the Daredevil show without Daredevil in it. That's stupid. He's in plenty of it. But I think if we had about the same amount of material given to the secondary characters and Kingpin, and we did beef up Matt's role in the, not necessarily the narrative, but more of that, like, breathing room interpersonal conflict stuff, I think it would have turned out a lot better, because we know, because they've been very explicit about this, like, there was a lot of stuff that they had to cut, or quote-unquote had to, including a lot of action stuff, that just, for some reason, they're still committed to doing 8 episodes in, like, under 45 minutes, which is very frustrating. Because that is really what I felt like the entire season. Whereas season 1, I appreciated the two tones kind of being smashed together. I liked the Frankenstein part of it. It obviously wasn't the best situation, but I felt like they made it work really well. And that still felt like it had a lot of things they had to trim for fat, like giving the secondary characters any fucking personality. This season, they beefed up the personality of pretty much everybody. They continue to give Kingpin a lot of time and still not really flesh out the literal motivation for why he wants to be mayor.
Right.
Like, I will gladly run with it. Like, intuitively, I'm like, well, of course he wants to be the mayor. But we still never really got that connective tissue from Echo to Born Again of, like, so she screwed with his brain, half fixed him, and he says he wants to do good things by doing stuff, but he does just do evil stuff. But he never, like, he's so... if he was in denial about it, like he was in the first season of Daredevil, where he's like, no, him coming into his role as Kingpin, you know, having the Good Samaritan speech thing was baller. Of him finally admitting to himself, like, no, I just actually want to move shit around on my own. I just want to do what I want. And no longer being, like, deluded that he's trying to do good things. If you try to, like, bump him morally in the direction of wanting to do good things, that's fine. And if you want him to be deceitful, that's fine. But it feels like they never really picked one, if that makes sense. Like, they kind of bounce back and forth between the two. So it's like when he's talking with Vanessa before she dies, rest in piss.
I thought she did a great job this season.
Oh, she was fucking phenomenal.
You really love to despise her.
Oh, 100%. She continued to be very, very good in her role. But, like, when they do a little bit of the season 3 bit of, like, you're not being fully honest with me, and it makes me not like you as much, which we also had in Born Again season 1, which is part of why the marriage fell apart. I like that material, but they don't justify why. It just feels like residual stuff that they kind of had, and it doesn't feel very clear.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on from my negative spiel. Do your thing.
You have 9 minutes. I was just gonna wrap it up and be like, this season kind of felt like a drag for me. I didn't click with it.
Really?
It didn't have the sauce. I was kind of struggling to push through it this season. So hopefully next season will be good. Like, I want more Daredevil, but I don't know. It was just wasn't it for me. Huh. So,
despite having just gone on a tear, I did really like this season. I think it is a slight improvement over Born Again season 1. It's just the minutia of, like, what's keeping it from going from, like, pretty good to, like, fucking amazing that really bugs me, because I know that they can get that high, They brought on like a lot of the original choreographers. The action got a nice step up this season. They're still kind of editing it to death, but like that's a lot more visceral. We got, I think, a healthy amount of cameos. We got a nice supporting role from Jessica Jones. They justified her existence in the narrative relatively well. We got obviously a loot.
One thing real quick. While I was kind of interested, there was barely any of it in the show, and it was definitely used as even more cliffhanger shit. Matt's crazy ex-girlfriend that they made in this season now wants to be Hush or Splooge or whatever that guy's name is. So that didn't feel very well developed, and there was like no time on it. It was just like, wow, she's getting really bitchy, and then oh, she wants to be the guy. Cool.
I disagree. I liked it. I liked her more this season because it felt like they actually knew what they wanted to do with her.
True.
It wasn't given enough time to breathe, 100%. But they gave her some weird chemistry with Buck. They gave the very ambiguous, like, who's playing who in this scenario? Who, like, what's genuine interest, what's not?
Muse, that's his name.
Yes, Muse.
I like Splooge.
I really like how they did like her very, very brief scenes of kind of going cuckoo banana. They made Muse more scary in death than he was in life because he was easily the most disappointing part of last season.
Yeah.
They over-explained him to death. He wasn't interesting. They killed him off. I think that the little bits we do get of him like kind of driving her crazy from the grave, all the cool stuff with like reflections and mirrors, I thought was pretty cool. It still does feel like it needs a lot more zhuzh to it. It feels like that should be when in season 3, obviously she's going to be one of the, I would say one of the primary antagonists.
I hope
One of at least. That should feel like more of a, not necessarily a tragedy, but like Matt should end up feeling very morally culpable for it. And he probably will. But I do think they're going to have to do some legwork on that because I think this season made her interesting as a character, but especially with how poorly season 1 handled that relationship and not really explicitly doubling down on the fact that they were both just kind of dicking around and lying to each other the whole time. Mostly Matt. That's 95% Matt just being stupid. It's going to have to it's going to be Matt being kind of he's gonna be fucking melodramatic about it. He's gonna be like, oh my god, I could have done so much and I fucked her up so bad, and it's like, motherfucker, you didn't care about her barely at all in the first place, so you shouldn't feel this bad about it, which is a very Matt Murdock thing to do. I just think that might be kind of annoying. I guess quick highlights I do want to point out. All the stuff with Bullseye was fucking dope as shit. Not just because it's cool and flashy, but I really liked the character work they gave him this season. It's using him as the primary vessel for Matt to really double down on a redemption arc for everybody was really well handled. Like, you know, they name drop Ray Nadeem, my fucking goat, so that gets me a big win in my book. In just like the little scene of acting where Dex is like, you know, I'm gonna do one good thing and that's gonna fix everything, and Matt has to do like 7 backflips of ethics in his brain trying not to kill him. And that second was really funny. I really like Dex this season. Wilson Bethel is fucking amazing. Diner scene, blah blah blah, all the cool stuff. But it felt like I think he's the only character that felt like got time to breathe in this season, which is weird.
True.
Like he's secondary antagonist ish.
I liked him walking into the cafeteria. That was great.
Everything that he did this season was really cool, and it all felt very in character. It felt like, that makes sense. That makes sense. I could see him doing that. I also like the fact that he started out being in the FBI, and now he's working for the CIA. That's fun. Now he gets to go kill people for fun, and it's legal-ish. Quick negative, actually, which we'll talk about on our next thing. Punisher being entirely excluded from this season is absolutely some scheduling problem bullshit, and it pissed me off.
That was going to be my segue.
I don't think it's this show's problem, but it does piss me off. I don't think they're the...
That was going to be my segue into the next topic.
Yeah,
because they were being coy, and everybody was like, where the fuck is Punisher? Like, we had a wicked cliffhanger with him being tied up to a chair, and then nothing. And they were like, ooh, he has his own special. It's going to come out the next week when the last episode would have come out. And then it was completely unrelated. It had nothing to do with anything.
It did. We'll get to that real quick. They cut the bit with Matt spray painting the suit, and that's a really stupid thing to cut. However, I fucking love the spray painted suit. I don't care. It got me the double keys. That's all I care about. That was really cool. Jessica was cool. Punch me, mommy. Karen Page with a fucking gun. Highlight of this season.
Karen wasn't fucking around this season. It was great.
No, she was not. I really, especially with how little she had to work with in season 1, with the fact she was entirely excluded from the original show and only got 2 appearances in the first season. They had a lot of room to expand on her, and I think they did really well with her role this season. And obviously, Deborah killed it.
I watched it. I was like, damn, Karen got hands.
She fucking got hands. I'm happy with it. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoy watching it week to week, or like every other week. But I do think it does have very similar problems to the first season. It feels too tight. It feels too controlled. However, bright side for next season, they have a new editor. I know it doesn't sound like much.
No, that'll be
but
good.
I think that will genuinely fix a lot of the problems. She's worked on some other MCU projects or whatever, but like that might resolve multiple issues, like the lack of character time and also the episode pacing being breakneck. They'll still double down on 8 episodes, which is fucking bullshit, but as long as the episodes are closer to an hour, I think I'll be fine.
All right, so Punisher got a special a week after Daredevil ended.
I do think, I must state, I do like it more than you. We probably have the exact same issues, though.
That is true. You did like it more. I don't know, this was worse than like a dumb summer popcorn movie for me, because there was it was one of those where it's like there's nothing here. It's just, let's do a John Wick with basically no story. It is okay. A lot of the action, I was like, why did he do that instead of whatever, picking it apart like a dad? There were some really shitty shots, like him falling onto the dumpster or whatever looked like a PS3 graphic. It was horrible. And there's just, I don't know, there was nothing to it. Like, as a Marvel presentation, it just felt like, please fund us for another season. That's all this was.
I have 2 things before I spew into my negatives, my positives. I think, one, I think this was directly intended to be a shit. We're putting him in the next Spider-Man movie, and we're gonna need something for people to watch without making them watch 2 seasons of TV. I'm not saying that excuses it, but I do directly think that was the reasoning of like, we need something short and breezy that conveys effectively the exact same story notes that we've done before. Like, they condense all the history down. They do the same. Frank Castle pretends to retire for 5 minutes.
Yep.
Gets pulled back into it. He does the Wolverine thing.
Yep.
But I've said this before, but I think it does in the end put him in a better place than he was after the show. Let me explain.
No, it's because he understands that the PTSD is getting through, and it's not just whatever.
I mean, sort of. I was more going to say that he does start he does start killing people for not just a civilian. Like in the first season, obviously we have that immediate montage. He kills, as he thinks, everyone involved with this family thing. His vengeance is complete, so he retires. Then he gets pulled into it for one more person. Then in the second season, he retires. He gets pulled into it for one more person who needs his help. I think, despite the fact that I do have the same criticism, one, Punisher really shouldn't be doing this. But the thing that pulls him out isn't like just one person. It is the helping people thing. Like, they do attempt very briefly in the beginning of the special to set up, hey, he may have knocked out this crime family. That's actually part of the reason why this part of the city is falling to shit. This is kind of his fault. And then he sees that, has to deal with it, and by the end, he doesn't just go out of his way for one person, but a couple, which I think is supposed to give us a projection of, like, yes, he is still the Punisher. He's still going to kill people. He's still doing this partially because he's broken, but because he is at least trying to do it to save people instead of primarily being a personal vendetta, or even the personal vendetta kind of projected onto all criminality. I'm not saying that that's the best move, but I think, I'm trying really hard with this one, I do think that's what they were attempting to go for with the writing.
I really like the villain. Ma Noki has really good comic ties, like that could go off really, really well. I would really love to see that.
I do think they definitely wanted to set something up for the future, and I do think she'll be good for that. The guy that was there was supposed to be Barracuda.
Fucking
He's just
dumb.
there.
Hated it. I hate Barracuda anyway.
Really?
I can't stand it.
Interesting.
He's not a great character, and he's designed to be that way, but I also don't really like how Garth Ennis writes him. It feels pretty racial.
That's fair. Garth Ennis do be on that shit sometimes. That's fair. I would have. Yeah. Okay. With those criticisms, I don't disagree. I think you can change the character and still make him Barracuda. They just didn't even name him. Like, they said afterwards, they're like, yeah, that was totally Barracuda. It's like, I guess I can see it.
Yeah.
If I squint. Like, that was just kind of silly. That does definitely feel like they do have some other projects they want to do. I would be happier with a series of specials rather like every year there's another one. I would take that over a TV show, to be honest.
I'm on the other side of that coin. I would rather a TV show where he works his way through a mob family.
I think I do in theory, but I think the thing, despite I really do like the Punisher show for what it is, I still think the show format is part of what lent them to doing the Punisher goes through cycles bullshit. Because with a season reset, you kind of somewhat have to return to status quo, and they don't want to make him too evil and all that sort of junk. I think that might be part of why they do that, is because carrying a show on what is pretty explicitly a shitbag is hard. And not just like it's a bad... like fucking The Sopranos is about a shit guy. Mad Men is about a shit guy. The Punisher's not charismatic like that. He's not that type of entertaining. He's very different entertaining. And I don't know if that would take a lot of... I think that would take a lot of talent to make it as entertaining as they would want it to be.
To be fair,
and also
what you're dancing around is what they were doing in Born Again Season 1 with the Punisher. So...
yes. That is also true. I do agree that some of the like either the practical shots that were cleaned up heavily and some of the VFX shots were pretty fucking rough. I do think in general the stunt choreography was pretty good. I usually don't like the playing Call of Duty gun game type, I literally just use whatever's near me type thing, but I thought it worked okay for this. I have what feels more like nitpicks that I don't think are nitpicks, but I think most people will call them nitpicks. Stupid retcon. He has a marine tattoo.
I knew you were
Um,
gonna bring that one up again.
okay, but the thing is, most people bitch about that because they're like, oh, he didn't have that before, which is true. He didn't, which does imply he got it after he's already completely dismissed the US military, which is dumb. But again, kind of leans to the like, they want to have a 45-minute shorthand version of what he's already done for new people. Not saying that's a good thing. I just think that that might be part of the reasoning. But he does also fucking scrape it off his body in the special right near the beginning. So it's supposed to be symbolic. I get it. It just does see like that is a stupid writing bit of like you really should have caught that. It that is kind of frustrating. I did really like how they actually handled his PTSD. I did not love how they handled his PTSD in his own show. It was way too subdued, and it was more like a character quirk rather than this motherfucker is institutional at all times. He is constantly having hallucinations. He can only keep a steady hand when he is shooting. That is it. He is a shivering mess. And I really liked that. Obviously, like the flashback hallucinations with his daughter was done really well. Obviously, we get the nice one batch, two batch thing. That was cool. It was nice that they let Bernthal's daughter like be the stand-in for Punisher's kid. That was cute.
That's pretty cool.
That was, I think, the thing that really made me hold on to the writing of like, and now we have the 30 minutes of action where nothing really happens. Because the first like 10 minutes, despite having some serious writing issues in like little kernels, him immediately going into psychosis the nanosecond he's out of a fight is way more on point. That said, what I think they were supposed to, and somebody in the writing room, possibly John Bernthal, unfortunately, who was one of the writers, this was 110% supposed to be him going crazy because the fucking cops were using his shit. And they just fucking didn't do it! And that pissed me off so fucking bad. Because if you want to excuse him from the next season, it really feels like a scheduling problem or whatever. He only has time to do one episode, so they gave him a special. I get it. It's stupid, but those things happen. Then it should have been the direct fallout of what just happened. And he escaped and did not free anybody from imprisonment. You have to justify that, for one. And him immediately going into psychosis makes sense, but there's no addressal of that in this short.
Yep.
Like, at all. It's, if you squint, you can say it's implied because also when the when the Nucci's were taken out, like, you can kind of squint at it sideways, but I can smell it. I can fucking smell it. That's what the pitch was. That is 100% what the pitch was, hey, we don't have the time for him to be in this season, but he wants to do a thing, so we'll let him have a little thing, and we have to justify it. And then somewhere along the way, either an executive or one of the writers said, just make it a comic booky thing, instead of it having him... Because that's why he was done so fucking well in last season.
Yep.
Like, him, despite having very brief appearances, him being a raggedy mess, just, like, dealing with the conspiracism stuff, Matt shows up and he's like, fine, I'll help you for 5 minutes. And then Karen says, I need help. And he's like, yes, mother. That was great. That worked. Him bailing, if it was a pile of heroes, would make sense. It was a pile of civilians and one hero. So he should have helped out with that. And then this special covers one day out of a multi-month-long time skip. Where the fuck was bro? Where the fuck was bro?
I want to go back. I've been waiting to cut in at some point. I want to go back to the PTSD thing, because we know you have the same delusions, but how did you feel about him having delusions about Karen?
It was so good! Obviously, it was I expected they were going to do it. They pussyfooted around whether they were going to show her or not. I think the scene was really good. Obviously, I I know Bernthal gets a lot of flack at this point because we're doing like the media cycle of old thing bad, new thing good, new thing bad, old thing good, where everyone's like, oh, all he does is scream and shout. That scene with Karen.
There was a lot of that in this movie.
There was a lot. There absolutely was.
It got to be too much, but...
Yes. But that little scene with Karen, are you really here? Was, it was so good. And the fact that this motherfucker, I respect it, is so delusional. He puts her in his dead wife's hoodie. I love that. I was really nervous they weren't actually going to do it because they pussyfooted around it so hard and how the rest of the writing kind of took a left turn. But they did commit to it. They're like, no, this is the one thing that kind of keeps him sane. And especially with her kind of soft rejection at the end of Born Again Season 1, it makes a lot of sense. I wish it was a little more than one 30-second hallucination, but it was good. It was good for what it was. I liked him having hallucinations of himself. I wish there was more of that. I like the brief little stint where he's seeing himself in like the full trench coat bit. That was cool. And I like that I like that he fucked that guy up in the end. That was the moment where I was like, this whole thing was dumb, but it was almost kind of worth it. Because they did some dopey ass comic book shit. They're like, this motherfucker killed a dog, and he punched a homeless man, and he stole his hat. And then Punisher fucking mogs him, and he stares at the camera and is like, look at my gun. I love that shit. That was so good. It was silly. Punisher is silly. Like, that's the one thing that I think this special did get, despite being nasty and kind of shoddy at points, was like, it's fucking goofy. Yeah, you know the bottom of his vest where the skull teeth are? They're knives. I don't care. I like it. Fuck it. It does, despite all of the negatives, I do think it does put him in a good spot for his appearance in Brand New Day. Judging on everything we've been getting about that movie and how he plays out in it and all the footage I've witnessed, it does actually feel like a smooth transition of like, yes, he is fucking insane. Not just like, oh, he's crazy. No, he is psychosis. But he's at least vaguely attempting to do it for the right reasons. He's drippy as shit. And he's gonna yell at teenagers. And like, I want to see more of it. But it's the same problem I have with the TV show. He's written wrong in solo projects. Why?
How hard are you gonna cringe in Spider-Man when they do the tried and true bit of where he tries to swear and Spider-Man interrupts him?
We've already seen how he deals with it, and it's by webbing his mouth, so I approve.
Oh, I don't watch any of this shit. I don't know.
That was the first trailer, I believe, after the teaser was like I still have some reservations about MCU Spider-Man. It does really look like they're fixing that shit. But the fact that he is like, go home, Frank, you fucking asshole. And Frank's like, you motherfucker. That works. That works for me. I like it.
Weird.
I like it. He gonna tell him something.
All right. I think last thing for the show. Speaking of drip,
Ooh,
let's talk about Spider-Noir.
this is like the best Peter Parker thing in 10 years. And he's not even Peter Parker.
Okay, thank you. I was like, wait a minute.
Except technically they imply he is because he changed his name. But legally, Sony can't do half the shit they do in this show with a character named Peter Parker. I'm assuming that's why they did that.
Weird.
Like, back to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Sony leak stuff from God knows how long ago.
Yeah.
You know, that big list of, you can't do this with Peter Parker. He hits all of that list, except being gay, basically. Smoking, swearing, premarital sex, murder, the whole gambit. They explicitly say in the show he changed his name after the war, so it's just Peter Parker. They're just doing a comic book thing, which is cool by me. I I did have some hope for this. I will, for once, I was not on the negative train. When I saw the initial images, I went, oh shit, that goes hard. This show went hard as fuck. I loved this.
First things first, they did two versions of it. One with color and one black and white. Did you watch both?
Yes.
I knew you would. Which version did you like better?
Black and white, and it was the one I watched first. However, that color was fucking amazing.
Interesting.
I commend them one for doing both.
Yeah.
Even if like most things they do the color version and then they'll do the black and white in post. I like that they shot it for black and white. They have shadows everywhere, dark darks, light lights, lots of shading. And when it's in color, it feels close, not really accurate, but close to the vibe of watching an earlier color movie. It is not Technicolor, but man, is it close at some points. It is popping. They were both fucking great. Someone made a list of like, you should watch these and this and this and this, and I didn't do that. I thought about it. I watched it all in black and white first, and then I just binged it in color in the past 2 days because I have had the Deadites in my house, as you know. I definitely preferred it in black and white, but the color version looks really good. What did you do?
I watched it, most of it, in black and white. And I've been having a blast. It looks amazing. It looks just like old black and white movies that I've watched before. Like a lot of tricks that I had forgotten about. They do in this. It looks incredible.
Yeah, the way they must have had to have overlit the damn sets for this is ridiculous. Everyone's wearing 4 layers of wool. Woohoo!
I'm curious. I've been watching it wondering how they did two versions at the same time. Because, like you said, you know, it looks so good in black and white with so much shading and everything, and usually that was done with really wonky colors to make it look normal in black and white. So I really want to know how they did it.
I do not know. Best guess, the sets and costuming had really bright colors, but then because of how it was shot in black and white with like really high exposure lights and all of that stuff, they still had to crank up the color saturation in post. But they did it pretty well. There are some slight differences between the two, which I actually really liked. So I don't know if you saw this. When what's his name? It's not Electro. It's one of the other fucking idiots who thinks he's Electro. The electric fella. When he uses his powers, a lot of the time they did a similar way of, they just drew the electricity over shit.
Yeah.
Like you would do in a black and white picture. In color, they didn't do that. In color, for the most part, it looks more traditional, like what we would expect it to look like. Because of the lighting, you can have all the shading of like a tube of electricity. But there was some stuff that was definitely like rendered differently, which I think is really cool. Even if you never notice it, it does help add to it's high effort. I don't know. A brief story synopsis, because I must, I guess. Ben Reilly is a washed up piece of shit private eye. It's, I think, 39 to maybe 42. No, yeah, maybe. What? It's 30s. It's after World War I. He's old and washed up, and he's a drunkard, and he's a PI, but he used to be Spider-Man. Well, he was the Spider. They had to do a little bit of the, like, not saying the comic book shit. Just a little bit.
Also, he's a drunk during Prohibition, which I thought was kind of funny.
I love that the whole thing is surrounding Prohibition. So, he's a dude, he's a guy, he's a miserable sack of shit. And some bullshit happens, and he realizes that he should probably be Spider-Man, and then he helps people. That's my plot synopsis. Because that's the shit that actually matters. The main antagonist is fucking Silvermane, who is adapted to be a mobster. You get a couple of fellas we know, some deep cuts that I was vaguely familiar with from a damn Wikipedia. Um, during World War One, there were some Nazi experiments made a bunch of POWs into metahumans or mutates. They call them mutants, and that's not accurate. They're mutates, including the Spider. Except the Spider wasn't directly infused with the juices. He was bit by a Spider-Man mutate who was horrifying. And
a lot of the spider effects were horrifying. Like, he trips through one episode, like an actual trip, and a lot of the spider shit was like, oh, that's kind of getting to me right now.
Yeah. And he's got to take down the bad guys. So, like, my big thing that I was a little nervous about is Spider-Man Noir in the comics has kind of drifted from its original concept a little bit. So we have the original 2 series, which are perfect. Perfect. And then Twilight and Babylon is pretty good, but the original series were really gross and gritty and extremely explicit in their commentary. I'm surprised editorial let those get through. Holy shit. And then the third one is like, what if Indiana Jones? And that's baller. I like it. It's a fun fucking book.
Indiana Jones and like Brendan Fraser's Mummy.
Yeah, it goes from being a journalist to being a private investigator. And then I just read the new book. I don't like it. It's even worse on that front. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. I don't like it. I like both of those. I really do. I like the really public, the really politics heavy, extremely responsibility version of this, with all of the horrendous shit that was going on at the time. And I also do like taking a little romp across the seas to go get an artifact. It's fun. I'm from New York. I like those. That's more of what we got in the Spider-Verse crossovers, as well as the Into the Spider-Verse adaptation. And I was a little nervous. It was going to be a little too camp, a little too goofy. I think the primary reason they blended the two of them so well together is because Robbie Robertson was so important to this narrative for the show. He was the secondary protagonist. And he, despite the fact that Ben, Peter, was doing private eye stuff and he was drinking and fucking around with mobsters, and Nicolas Cage is camping it up, the driving, like, ethical force was journalism, the importance of doing good, and, like, actually relatively discussing the issues of the time. And I think that those two things come together really well in this show. It is pretty gross when it wants to be. It is relatively horrific for what you would expect. And it's also really goofy and really fucking funny. And I'm fucking astounded they got the two of those to work really well together. Because you have you guys better get home, puts these streets ain't safe next to, like, yeah, literally Nazis did experiments on my boys and they're gonna fucking die. And also, we don't give black people voting rights. Like, they hit on all of it to varying levels. And I think that's relatively all pretty well thought out for the narrative. Like, centering Silvermane's empire around the Prohibition. Baller move. Great shit. Like, it, I have, like, no criticisms of this show, genuinely. I can't think of anything.
I don't think I do either.
Like, it's well paced. They don't what's the term? Surf Dracula having the suit the whole time. He gets it in episode 2. Like, he does start Spider-Maning pretty damn soon, but he doesn't do it for the right reasons. And that comes back to kick him in the ass. And he's got to do it for the right reasons. They actually say, with great power comes great responsibility. They do the thing. Why am I doing the Jewish bodega voice?
I don't know, but it's making me uncomfortable. What's her face? Kat Hardy is great too.
Dude, she was so good.
Yeah, she's been awesome. I wanna guess that she's actually doing the singing performances too. If not, like
felt
it
like it.
looks really freaking good. So
Yeah, she was really good. And what was it? I think a lot of the stuff that made it, because I'm a nitpicky Spider-Man guy, a lot of the really random little details were what kind of made it for me. Not any one of them, but the collective bundle.
a lot of that was
Like,
probably Nicolas Cage in the background.
it definitely was. That's one of the reasons I had hope for this, is because Nicolas Cage is notoriously a huge fucking comic nerd since the 70s.
Right.
His stage name, Nick Cage, is a callback to Luke Cage, who at the time was a nobody.
Right.
Like, I really, the stunts were really good. We got swinging. We got good action. We got a messed up, washed up piece of fucking shit who doesn't know what he's doing with his life. We had really good supporting characters. It was funny as shit. Brendan Gleeson, as always, was stellar as Silvermane. Holy crap. And like, yeah, the little stuff. Like, there's a kid who hangs around the office who's like his urchin, who he just makes do shit. But he also has, I can't remember, I think it's Janet, his secretary / she actually does all the work. She helps him with school because, you know, in reality, Ben doesn't want this kid to not go to school. Like, you got that. You got dead love interest. Stuff was all great. The fucking, it was so fucking good. Like, the pacing was maybe the only thing that was a little rough-ish, but really, not really.
Not really.
Like, the mystery elements were pretty well handled. The suspense was there. The characters were all really well written. Like, some of the characters were allowed to be caricatures. Like, the fucking guy what is it? The Electric Man. I don't remember his actual comic name. But that guy, like, he's allowed to just be a pompous fucking theater airbag, and he gets fucking murked. Like, you got that, but like, Flint Marko was done really well. Like, he is also a caricature, but he's given a level of depth to him. Like, Kat was allowed a lot of fucking nuance to her. I didn't even feel like it was, like, obviously she's an adaptation of Felicia Hardy. It barely even felt backstabby. Not in a bad way, but I was really like, oh, this is just a really normal human fucking decision. Like, yes, it fucks over my guy, but the person she does care about more is the one hopefully gaining from this decision. Like, her able to play everyone in the room was really well thought out as her character, also her as an Asian woman in the 30s, and her place within the club. Like, all of that was done really well. This is so silly. The fact that Hammerhead, Lonnie, I don't remember what they gave him for a last name, but Lonnie, the guy who's Hammerhead, when Robbie goes to his house, goes to like the slums, and he tries to dap a brother up, and he's like, get that shit out of my face. Oh, so good. Like, it's the little shit like that feels really intentional.
I really enjoyed Robbie too. He was a great character.
He was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
He came through when it was important. He was consistently in Ben's ear the whole time. Like,
yeah.
You do better, do better, do better, do better.
Yeah.
You're a bitch, do better. But he never felt like obnoxious.
Right. Yeah, he's great.
The whole episode where Nick Cage just gets to freak out was so good. They just let this motherfucker do method as a spider, and it was great. Like, what project gets to have Nick Cage doing his like full emotional dramatic work, which I think is some of the best of his career. Like, he has a lot, especially his recent stuff. Like, he does really emotional, like, soulful stuff, and also lets him just be a freak. They just let him do both. He got to have his sit downs and his drunk pouring his heart out stuff, and then other times he got to spurg out as a spider. It was great. He just fucking. It was so fucking funny. Oh, good lord.
I really hope we get a second season.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen.
It's
Judging by
doing crazy numbers on Prime, so
yeah, it's pretty likely. And I also, last positive, I like how when they cut corners, it still felt intentional. Like when the green screen has to feel shoddy, it still kind of felt like early like matte paintings or like a film reel running around the car type stuff. When they had to cut like production corners, it still felt pretty fucking good. The lenses actually lit up. I'm so easily pleased, it seems, but the lenses
clearly
glow in the dark. And that little montage of him at the end just being a drunk asshole and being like, I'm the spider. It's like, no shit, dude. I'm a sucker for the secretary always knew, you idiot. I love that trope. Janet was fucking I'm pretty sure it's Janet. She was fucking awesome. She was funny. She did all the damn work. She carried a lot of emotional weight, and she didn't feel like a nag. Like, she didn't feel obnoxious. It was like, no, you are just putting me in danger for no fucking reason. You're an asshole. Get your shit together. But she came in clutch a few times, and she's really good at her job, obviously. And she, like, the fact that she knew the whole time, and it wasn't a revelation, carries a lot of weight, like, retroactively for the narrative of, like, it is obviously, like, a genre convention. That's a pretty common thing for, like, noir stories and whatever. But it's like, yeah, you were clearly not having a good time. You were a mess. And I was here to just kind of wait it out. Why the fuck would I tell anybody? You were an asshole. You were a mess. Like, what would that get me? You know? Like, I thought that was really well handled. Yeah, I liked the goons. We got goons.
You always love goons.
I love goons. What can I say? You know, if I was in a narrative like this, I would be a goon.
You would have the goon hat for sure.
I would definitely. Even if I was in charge of, if I was a goon lieutenant, I would still be a goon.
You're that kind of goon that would have the goon hat that wouldn't cover the ears, and that shit bothers me.
It's the spider. Like, come on. Those guys were funny as shit.
Wrap it up. We got 4 minutes left on shit-ass Zoom.
Yeah, no, genuinely, like, best. Not Spider-Verse excluded. Those two movies are nigh impeccable.
Yep.
Like, this is easily the best Spider-Man thing in a very long time. The Spider-Man stuff was well done. The personal drama was well done. It felt like a soap opera, just enough. It had its time. Every Spider-Man comic is a soap opera in disguise. That's what it needs to be. The body horror was done enough to convey the point. It had good acting, good performances. It was funny. It looked good. It
sounds
just,
good.
It sounded amazing. The score was fucking great. The musical performances in the show were really well handled. It felt. Oh.
All right. 3 minutes left. Yeah. Special thank you to Jetpack Comics and Games for birthing Michael and Kyle. They make great comics, and they need to make more good comics. You should go to Jetpack in Rochester, New Hampshire to buy good comics. They would love to see you do that. Special thank you to our patrons, Caitlin and Jeff Lawrence, for sticking with us for so many years. One of them being when we didn't even produce anything. The Patreon itself has been slimmed down. I think there's only like one stage left to sign up on, and it's heckin' cheap. It's probably our cheapest one yet. So
it's $1.
Yeah. Go to patreon.com/dimecomicbros network and give us $1 a month, and you get access to Happy Hour, which is something that we record after almost every single episode, depending on how goofy or how late or how busy we are. But we try. We really, really do. And I think a couple other things. I don't remember what.
Early access to episodes, which we might actually be able to do now that we're kind of on track-ish.
Right. Probably.
Yeah, right, probably. You get stickers.
Sometimes.
I still got bookmarks.
Yep.
I will make Colin make new bookmarks, so I don't care. We'll keep doing bookmarks.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
And we do have special stuff that comes around every once in a while, which we should probably get on.
Yep.
And it's just nice to give me $1 because I like $1 because then I can buy a really good hot dog.
All right. You're doing it a little too hard right now.
But it's in theme with the show. All he wanted was a good wiener.
Thank you for listening. Tune into Gaming Bros. That'll be in 2-ish weeks. And in a month, we'll do more comic shit because we have a lot to catch up on. So tune in then. Thank you. Goodbye.